All right. Here we go. So closing my eyes and placing my hands on my heart, I invite you to do the same if you feel comfortable with that. And I'm taking in a deep breath of love and gratitude. Breathing in the love, breathing out the gratitude. So grateful for this time to come together and be the two or more gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to have open hearts, open minds, our desire to shine away any and all blocks to love. So grateful for this work that we get to do together and the way that we love, support, and cherish each other. So grateful for all of our earthly and heavenly helpers. We ask that they join us now, surrounding and supporting us, supporting this call, supporting the technology that we get to use to come together each week, supporting all those here and all those who may listen later, and everyone that they're connected with. Grateful to be able to be open receivers of love and inspiration, receivers of healing. And we're grateful that we get to share that healing, that love, and the all good of God with everyone because we are one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. All right. So I'm so glad you're all here. We're in chapter 24, section 7, the meeting place, which this is the meeting place. And I'm going to start us off with paragraph 2. The memory of God shines not alone. What is within your brother still contains all of creation. Everything created and creating, born and unborn as yet, still in the future or apparently gone by. What is in him is changeless, and your changelessness is recognized in its acknowledgement. The holiness in you belongs to him, and by your seeing it in him returns to you. All of the tribute you have given specialness belongs to him, and thus returns to you. All of the love and care, the strong protection, the thought by day and night, the deep concern, the powerful conviction. This is you, belong to him. Nothing you gave to specialness, but is his due, and nothing due him is not due to you. And for me, that just spoke of how we already have every single thing we could ever need or want or ask for. It's already been given, as I hear Jennifer say so many times in our classes. So you can be wanting for nothing because it's all been given. So that's where I'm starting us off. So who else would like to share either from that jumping off point or something else that they read in the section or something that's going on in their life that kind of they can connect? Go ahead, Carla. And then Homera.
Okay. I wasn't ready, but in that paragraph 8, the first line, it says, this course makes no attempt to teach what you cannot easily be learned. And I have discovered, and goes back to the introduction, it says, this course is not aimed to teaching the meaning of love, but that is beyond what can be taught. And it says it's about removing blocks, love, but that's the blocks are it's what I'm focusing on that takes my attention away from choosing love. So we can't be taught love because that is what we are. That I do know this, that we can be taught to discern how to choose love more consistently, more fully, more completely, whatever. That is, I don't know where it is, but in the book, but I found one little sentence, and I'm like, oh, is atonement is perfect love. And so that's what we're learning. We're like little godlets, godlings, whatever, and learning the how to fly with love is holding our wings up, you know, and that's what the divine alarm clock is, to tell us when we don't choose that. Oh, choose again, and that's I just lost my spot, but because I went something else. Yeah, I don't know, but it says when you're in the world, when you believe what the world teaches you, when you see, this is my own words, but basically when you believe the teaching of the world, you're caught up in what I think is you're caught up in the illusion. So what feels right for me or whatever is to notice where you're choosing from. If you're choosing from the world, the illusion, or if you're choosing from your true self, from love, right? So the two words, that word I wasn't going to say is when I realized, and I had a dream, and the dream told me, not remember any of the other dream, but it told me, your healing is only limited by your willingness. So grow your willingness until you're fully healed. And I'm like, and I thought I knew what willingness is for. It says that in the development of trust, but I don't know what it's never initially what I thought, but I'm getting close to saying that what it is everything. There's nothing outside of love. So it looks many ways, but I'm realizing that if I'm disturbed or if I'm like thinking, oh no, I know this or whatever, or this should be different or something, I'm outside of love. And that's what I'm learning is that to, they say Jesus was a good leader, but I think he was a great follower. He followed the voice within. He followed his higher self. He followed the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, God, voice, whatever. Is it? I don't need to be a great leader. I mean, maybe that'll come. I'm interested in being a great follower, follower of truth, a follower of love. Actually, a follower of life, because I've gone, but I learned that I don't need to go out there and look for it. God gives me experiences like was it your freezer? Your freezer AC? What was? But that exact experience was, we're each given exact experiences according to our individual curriculum to help us. We don't need to go out there, although it could be in a book and it words, our neighbor, our teacher, whatever it could be, but it comes to us. You really don't have to go to it. So it's my share.
Thank you, Carla. I love that we're godlets, like droplets of water in the ocean. So cool. Amira.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I really thought this paragraph 6 was really good. It says, the test of everything on earth is simply this: what is it for? The answer makes it what it is for you. It has no meaning of itself, yet you can give reality to the answer according to the purpose that you serve. Here you are, but means along with the answer. God is a means as well as an end. In heaven, means and end are one and one with God. This is the state of true creation, found not within time, but in eternity. To no one here is this describable, nor is there any way to learn what this condition means. Not till you go past learning to the given, not till you make again a holy home for your creations, is it understood. So, you know, I have to always ask myself, like, what is it for? You know, what purpose am I giving it? Am I giving it the purpose of the specialness of the ego, answer? And that's the separateness, how it serves my separate purpose? Or am I giving it the purpose of oneness, unity? That's the way I looked at this paragraph, although I was a little lost when it said, in heaven, means and end are one and one with him. This is the state of true creation, found not within time, but in eternity. And my mind went to, well, there are no questions in heaven. So like, it just is. So there's nothing to ask, but I'm not sure if that's what it means. And then it says, in this physical reality that I'm living, I can't really get the essence of that. I can't really understand what that really even means, because it says, to no one here is this describable, nor is there any way to learn what this condition means. So I was curious about that, because I know that the seeing the true, is it the true world is not the real world, it's not heaven. It's a step still towards that. So could we not experience this still in the body here? If you could just kind of expand a little bit on this paragraph, Linda, that'd be great.
Yeah, I feel what he's saying here is it's not anything that we can understand. It's just something that we know and feel within every ounce of our being. And we can do that while we're still appearing to be here in this human form, having human experiences. But it's not something that we can strive to understand or study, like you're studying algebra or something like that. It's just something that you read it and it resonates within every cell of your body, just like when you're standing too close to a loudspeaker and somebody beats a drum. You can feel the vibration in every part of your body. Does that make any sense?
That's really powerful in my experience, because I know when I first was reading the course, I was really reading it to understand it. And I was analyzing everything, and my head would hurt by the time I would finish one paragraph. I mean, literally it would hurt because I was so trying to understand. And now it's like I read it and the information is given to me, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not trying anything. And if I don't understand something fully, like now, like I'll bring it up in a circle like this, where it can kind of like minds come together and an answer will come from that place. But it's more of a knowing, it's like, it's a more of a, I understand what you're saying. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I mean, I had that experience when I first started reading A Course in Miracles way back in the early 80s. Like, I didn't really hardly understand a word of it, because first of all, the iambic pentameter, while I find it comforting and beautiful and poetic now, was just like so frustrating. Couldn't understand a word I was reading, but I could feel there was something resonating within me that knew that there was truth in here, and that I was aligned with that truth on some level, even though I couldn't understand it. So yeah, that's why we don't really study it. I mean, we're students of A Course in Miracles, but we're really students of life. learning how to live a life of love. Thank you for that. Who else would like to share? Go ahead, Phil.
Hey everyone, thank you for your share. And I don't even know what I want to say since I couldn't stand the silence. I put my hand up, but I do know what I wanted to. I highlighted this, and it's paragraph 3. How can you know your worth while specialness claims you instead? Seek not to make your specialness the truth, for if it were, you would be lost indeed. Be thankful, rather, it is given you to see His holiness, because it is the truth. And what is true in Him must be as true in you. And, when I read that, one thing about the specialness and came up for me is all the grievances that I hold against myself and others is the specialness, and that is what creates the feeling of unworthiness, not good enough, or not fitting in, or whatever the story is. And that separation is specialness, and that separation keeps me away from that specialness keeps me away from being in my holiness, acknowledging my holiness, acknowledging my innocence, because that specialness tells me how bad I am at what I did and why I do that all the time. And because without that, I have no story. And at the same time, I like the number 4, be thankful, rather, it is given you to see His holiness, because it is the truth. And it really resonated for me, because instead of beating myself up, I don't have to do the beating up. I can just switch. It's like the light switch, Instead of complaining about the darkness, how dark it is, I just need to turn on the switch, and voila, the light shows up. And this the same way, instead of staying in my specialness where I feel the unworthiness or whatever that is, I can just acknowledge my holiness, my innocence, and just remember I am as God created me. So, yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much. Grace.
Thanks, Phil. I've been thinking about that a lot this week as well. And I think it was last week in the Course of Miracles, our lesson was my condemnation keeps my vision dark, and through my sightless eyes, I cannot see the vision of my glory. And that really brought it home to me, the connection between my opinions and my reactions, even an emotional, somebody pointed out to me, even just feeling sad about something is giving it reality for a start, but it's also clouding my own vision, darkening my vision. And we need our vision so that we can see our own glory. And so every time I do a judgment on this last week, I had some incidents with my brother. One of my brothers told me that he hated my family apart from me. And another one was trying to be nice and helpful to another brother. I've got 4, and a lot of them, they're not talking to each other, and there's a lot of fighting going on. And he said he was trying to support my brother whose son committed suicide, and it ended up with that guy not deciding to stop talking to him, and he just couldn't understand why. He didn't know what he'd done wrong, and I kind of felt sad. And so Carla pointed out to me that just feeling sad was like a judgment of the situation. And so I'm actually part of that situation now. You know, I'm creating it if I feel sad, if I have, it's the same as a condemnation, in fact. And so me doing that clouds my own vision, so I cannot see my own holiness. So I have to be careful when people tell me stuff, that if I'm going to feel a little bit sad, it's the same as a condemnation. So to watch my emotions and remember that's not real. And I don't need to do anything. Maybe just invite spirit in, the angels, and just see my brothers as perfect. They're not doing anything. They're on their own path. And my job is just to recognize their holiness and keep my own vision of myself clear, like Phil says, that I am holy.
Thank you, Grace. Yeah, my sense is that your brother that was trying to support your brother that lost his son was feeling his judgments of him being broken because of that. And that is why he was angry with him, because he was feeling that from him.
Yes, well, in my family, we lost my nephew like a couple of months ago, but this brother who was trying to console him, his stepson also committed suicide.
Oh my God.
And so he was trying to share that he had this tendency to blame himself, and if Steve was blaming himself for the recent suicide, just not to go there. And for some reason, well, I'm not going to judge it. I'm just trying not to judge it. For some reason, he took offense.
Yeah.
And I bless them both.
Yeah.
I love them both.
Just wasn't
very
ready
much.
to hear it yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, blessings on both of them.
Yes, blessings.
Yeah. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
Yeah. Chris.
Hi, I just joined, and what Phil said really resonated with me about without specialness, I have no story. I love that. Oh boy, I'm going to remember that one. But I wanted to ask what Grace was just talking about. Tell me, or I don't quite understand, if someone has a death or, someone committed suicide, are you not to say anything? Or if someone asks you, what do you think? What are you supposed to say or do?
Well, my sense is, first of all, just be guided by Holy Spirit as what to say or what to do. And my experience has been, because my very best friend, her husband passed after having pancreatic cancer or esophageal cancer, 2-year battle with that. And then a year or so after that, her son died of an overdose. And basically what I told her was that I'm here for you. I love you. I know I have no idea exactly what you're going through. I know that I'm going to say some things that are going to be really stupid. And if you get angry with me because of it, I'm a big girl. I can handle it. I love you. We've been friends since we were 14 years old. And, and I did say some things to her that like really pissed her off, and she let me know about it. But just letting her know that I'm here for you. I'm not going away, no matter what display of pain it takes, what the form your pain takes. It's not going to have an impact on me to the extent that I'm not going to show up and be there for you, because I love you no matter what. And I don't know what you're experiencing. All I can tell you is that I'm here and I love you. So I feel like, you don't want to be weird, is what Gary Renard always says in Disappearance of the Universe. When you go to a funeral, you don't walk up to the person that just lost a loved one and say, well, none of this is real.
Right.
You don't do anything like that. You're there for them. I'm sorry that, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm here for you. I love you so much. Just allow spirit to move through you and let you know what is best for you to say and do in each given moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Chris. Thank
Linda,
you.
just really quickly, I'm so appreciative of what you said, like about, saying I might say something that you may be pissed off at, and I'm a big girl, and because I think like when people like lose loved ones, and we don't know sometimes what to say to console, but it's really important to be human, to be vulnerable, to validate their feelings, like you said, to not say, oh, the body's not real. That's
Right.
not helpful to anyone in that moment. So I'm so appreciative that you said that. And then I also want to just go back to Grace and everybody else that has had loss and sharing from, like, what amazes me about this community that we're a part of, people speak from the heart and experience, and there have been hard experiences, loss of a son, loss of a brother, loss of a nephew, and yet they speak from that level of experience with applying truth to it. And so that to me is so helpful. My brother was let out of the hospital yesterday after trying to, kill himself and others. And I couldn't get my head around it. And I was so devastated last night. And then I did the reading that you gave us. And that was like soothing water. And then I went to a mastery circle. And then one woman shared how her son got killed, through this addiction. And yet she's at peace. And I was just floored by that.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, I so appreciate, all the personal stories, Grace, Carol, and others that share, and become vulnerable and speak from the heart, because it's so, so helpful and inspiring for me individually, and I'm sure for others as well. So I just want to say I'm so grateful to all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Humira. Thank you so much. Saskia, and then Kathleen. Oh, I can't hear you, Saskia. It doesn't say that you're muted, but I cannot hear you. I don't know if maybe you need to turn your volume up. Nope, still can't hear you. Maybe try leaving and coming back. Sometimes that helps. All right. Sorry about that. You can post something in the chat if you would like. I'll read it out loud if you would like to. For now, we'll move on to Kathy.
I know there's a couple of us. Do you mean me?
Yes.
Okay.
Kathy Curry, I should say the whole name.
Oh,
We have three of yous.
yeah, thank you. And I just wanted to add in on that thing about, death and dying. I'm one of those that, well, each one of us has had an experience, whether it's a mother, a father, a child. And of course, I've been there too. And I think what I have learned through this and many other spiritual teachings is that we're in this human experience to experience. And from these experiences, we grow. And I read something this morning that I wrote, and because I keep a journal on grief and I do talks on grief, and it's surrendering to the experience of loss. Be open to it and allow your heart to break, because it is. Know that the person that we have lost is in God's keeping and that they are indeed safe. It doesn't say we have to like this experience, but it is to deny that you are having an emotion is to deny your spirituality. We are here to experience. And when you think about it, if you don't know what to say, you can always think, what did I appreciate of something someone said to me? What did I not appreciate? And don't say that, because we all, even though we're here in this oneness, our experiences are that we must move through life with these perceived other beings. And these other beings are what are teaching us, are helping us to learn. And so I would have been hurt terribly if people had not said to me, I am so sorry. I am so sorry that you lost your son. I know that I can't know what you're going through, but I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And there may be nothing more than that. Or I drop a note at their home, or I take them flowers, or, everybody wants to bring food, but, most of us don't want to eat when we don't feel good. But again, all I just want to say that this is part of our life experience, whether it is death, where it is the loss of a job, whether it is someone being angry, they're all emotions of which we need to allow them to move through us. We need to just breathe and just know that we are indeed safe. This will indeed move through us, and we will learn something if we allow ourselves to just sit with it, to be present, and to just say, I don't like this, but I'm willing. I'm willing to see what is mine to see. So that's my little insight. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kathy. Beautiful insight it is. Yeah. And thank you for all the work that you do with others around. I mean, yeah, you've made it meaningful. Absolutely. Saskia, let's give it another shot, honey. No, still can't hear you. Ted.
Hey, if she goes down by the microphone where the mute button is, their little arrow, if she clicks on that little arrow, a screen will come up and there's a volume adjustment that is there. I believe, I don't know how she did it with the keyboard, but she's turned her microphone down. I think that's all that it is. So, sweetheart, if you can go over by your mute button and hit that arrow that goes up, and if you look there, the second little visual down will give you a, what's that look? Will give you a place to turn it up. Just trying to help.
Yeah. Thanks for the suggestion, Ted.
I've tried it.
Oh, I just heard that. Go ahead. I can hear you now.
Go for it. I hear you. Oh.
Happens on Zoom with the ministry. I've been on Zoom outside of the ministry, and it works okay. And it just happens now and then, and it's very frustrating. And I've tried everything.
Yep. Well, we can hear you now, so share whatever you would like.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask Carla, for what she said, we're given everything we need to learn. I think those were the words, something like that. And I was wondering, I just wanted to check that, Carla, you mean the life experiences we get that come to us. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, oftentimes this is a lesson 1 or 2. Nothing is as it appears, and we give everything the meaning it has. So what the best way is to suspend the meaning of the mind. The ego thought system likes to give you the meaning of everything, because I have learned I don't always like it. It's not me, it's ego doesn't like it, because something is how the power greater than myself is helping me to awaken, and it doesn't like it. The ego wants to be the master and wants to control me by telling me what to think. And the mind is not the master. I am the master. The higher self is. So that's the part that's, I think, the power greater than any of us is giving us experiences to learn now. And so that's what the question, the thing was, how I want to see this, or something like that. What is this for? It's in paragraph 6, paragraph 6. So the test of everything on earth is simply this: what is it for? Now, I know everything is for our growth, our learning. And so I've discovered, I just look at my life. What is upsetting me about this experience? If I look at the meaning I'm giving it, because it's the divine alarm clock going off. So look at why I'm upset. And so what am I thinking? What am I believing about this that's upsetting me? That's the question. What is it for? So it's all the time. It's just kind of amazing. That's how you're so loved by the Father. It's that you're not left here stranded. You're given all these experiences one after another to help you. Is that clear?
Oh yeah, it's perfectly clear. I just wanted to check, because it could have also meant if we tune into Holy Spirit, we're given help. So I thought.
Well, it's both. It's both, really. It's all one, right?
I thought that was what you meant, what you do mean. I just wanted to make sure.
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking. Okay, I hope it was clear. If it isn't, just ask again.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Mary Lee.
Well, I've just, can you hear me? Okay. I've just been thinking a little bit back of a few thoughts when it was talking about empathizing with the mother who has lost her son, or some experiences that seem to put us into overload in a way that we are not prepared for, or have grown enough in our life experience to handle. And it's I knew of someone. I wasn't a close personal friend, but I knew her definitely enough. We sang in the Messiah performance together for a few years, and she was part of an organization I knew. Her name was Susan. Anyway, when she got breast cancer, and she had some within her circle of friends that, this is, not so bad. This is
accept how beautiful this is or something like that. A little bit of a, she said, she didn't want to hear that. She didn't want to, at least she wasn't prepared to be, I guess you'd say, positive about it. Like, she said, I don't want anyone to say that it's just because I'm not being positive in my thinking that this is depressing to me. This is very depressing. And of course, she actually lived for a few years after this diagnosis. It isn't like she died right away after that. But she was not wanting to hear from those who would, this is your experience, and have kind of a, I guess what is said, a Pollyanna viewpoint of it. It perhaps was more than what she could handle, an overload. I don't know if that's, I'm new to studying the course, and perhaps we'll go into some chapters that talk about that, when sometimes a person is put into overload and you can hardly handle it, and you can't take words of comfort such as, how do you help someone whose son has committed suicide? And they actually get mad at you if you try to be positive at all, because they're not there. They're way overtaken by that emotion. I'll look forward, as I study the course with you, learning that balance between not letting terrible, what we call terrible, life-changing or life-altering, taking your life away, diagnosis and reality that you just are not prepared to take. I don't know if I expressed myself clearly.
Yeah, I think so, Mary Lee. It really is a balance of not doing a bypass of your emotions, because that's not helpful either. And not bypassing anybody else's emotions about what they're going through either. But the thing that's good to have, like community like we have here, is even when you can't hold that for yourself, if you're not feeling strong enough to hold that for yourself, we can still hold you as perfect, whole, and complete. That doesn't mean I'm going to say you are perfect, whole, and complete if you tell me you just got a diagnosis of breast cancer. I can keep that to myself and just tell you that I love you and I'm here for you, and that's something that we learn as we become more spiritually mature, that we don't have to tell people, well, this isn't real. So what are you so upset about? You would never say that to somebody, because that's just not compassionate. Or you might, who knows? Who knows? You might say that, and then maybe you wouldn't be friends with them for much longer. But when we become a little more mature, then we are able to navigate those waters and hold space for each other and hold each other as perfect, whole, and complete when we can't do that for ourselves. So I appreciate that, Mary Lee. All right, so Melita, and then Robin, and then Hamira. Thank you for that.
Yes, hi. I just had a thought as we were talking, just with my children. My youngest is 4, and she's has a lot of emotions, and so she has lots of tantrums and freak outs and cries over the way her sandwich was cut. And I just find that I just let her. I guess I'm just feeling like our emotions are valid and it's okay to have them. And I don't tell her, don't cry, I cut it this way because whatever. I just let her cry about it, and then she feels better. And so I guess that's just my thought is even when we're little, we have emotions that are quite crazy. And if somebody tries to convince a 4-year-old that they don't need to cry about something, I mean, she's just going to get really mad at me. So I just, we just I think it's like feeling worthy enough to feel the feelings and let it be there and no judgments about it. And then it passes. So that was just kind of my thought about just with my children right now that I'm seeing, because, I think the spiritual bypass balance is a big deal, because that's kind of what I always did. Don't feel that, be positive. And now I'm allowing myself to feel, but I also don't want to sit in a soup of, sadness all the time. I know that's not good for me either. So I guess I'm just getting that, yeah, I'm learning with my children that just having a feeling and feeling it and then letting it go is perfectly healthy. And that I'm starting to feel like there really are no bad feelings, they're all just emotions and we can just feel them and let them go and love ourselves anyway, and not try to make people stop feeling them or even make ourselves stop feeling them. So yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Melita. Yeah, be like little children. They know how to deal with their emotions. You have an outburst and you get over it and then you go play.
And Linda, I think what you said about using a balance really pertains to so many things, including how we take people's remarks and how we evaluate them. I mean, going through this experience I've been going to way more doctors than I would like to, and sometimes they say really things that are really discouraging. And one doctor I went in and told her that I'd like to go back to work at some point, and she looked at me. She sat and looked at me, and then she said, "The only thing you're ever going to be able to do is be a naked greeter at Walmart." And I mean, I just thought that was so inappropriate. And I mean, that's just stuck in my mind. And she smirked. She thought it was funny, but it wasn't funny to me at all. And as time goes on, I'm having to look at that differently. I mean, instead of having a judgment about it, I'm just trying to, I still don't like what she said, but I'm trying to see it differently and from her point of view, maybe.
Yeah, Deborah, I completely understand that. I remember just quickly an experience that we had when Rudy had his kidney transplant and he was on the anti-rejection medications. It was like the last day or the second to last day that he was in the hospital, and this nurse came in and we were talking about how he was having like tremors in his hands and stuff. And how we were just thinking that it was from the trauma of having the surgery and all that. And she said, "Oh no, you'll have that forever. You'll never lose that. That's from the anti-rejection medication." And at the time I was furious with her. I was so furious with her. And I had to do my own like forgiveness work around it and send her love. And okay, she was trying to, whatever she was trying to do by saying that to us. But the miracle has been because I have done the work around it and forgiven her and just send her love. A year or year and a half or so ago, my husband was put on a IV medication that he only takes once a month, and the tremors have stopped. So that did not have to be his truth, even though she thought that it would be. We did not have to accept that. So, Deborah, you are a student of A Course in Miracles, and miracles happen every friggin' day. So, what that nurse said to you has no volition over you.
Okay, thanks, Linda. I think you understand exactly.
Yeah, I do. I do. Thank you for sharing that, Deborah.
Uh-huh.
Robin.
Have bad eye-hand coordination. Oh my gosh, the depth of people's shares is just so moving. And the fact that we're talking about death when in our culture, people don't want to talk about death. And somewhere along the line, having gone through funerals as we all have in our lives, and learning different ways to be around it or for it. One of the things that I got was like maybe it was an experience. I don't remember the details, but somehow I understood that you always acknowledge. You would never not say anything. And so that's the first thing, that you, even if it's just, I love you, or simple, or I'm sorry. I mean, that, and I think it's with the sincerity from heart too, which most people are, I imagine. The other thing that I've gotten having to do with death and dying is that we all want to be helpful. We all want to go hug that person. We all want to do something and say something. And being a cancer survivor myself, I know the overwhelm of the love that people want to give. And yet it's like you're trying to embrace each person. And it's a lot of people. It was way back when. And certainly I loved it. But what I learned from that is possibly it's not having to say anything, and think about the other person and let them be ready to listen, be more ready to listen than to be giving advice. Or, you know, we're trying to fill up that space with loving and kind words, but maybe you just let them cry. And we all have done this, so this is nothing new. But just for me, those are what came to my thoughts about experiences in death and dying, and learning to just, as you said, I'm here for you. And maybe in a week or two, a note or something after the crush has happened, you know, that people are around and they're bringing food or they're doing all sorts of things. And maybe down the road is when someone might get lonely and really want to have somebody listen to them, or whatever. So putting the it's like putting the attention on them and letting them lead the conversation or the lack thereof, and then practicing being in that present moment so we can respond in a way that's maybe more helpful or truly helpful. So,
you know, all this input is really helpful, because I have a friend whose husband is dying of brain cancer right now, and I've been thinking I need to call her, and I've been putting it off actually because I just didn't know quite what to say. So this conversation has been extremely helpful to me. I'll be able to call her after this and be more comfortable with what to say.
That's beautiful, Deborah. Thank you. And thank you, Robin. Amira, and then Ted.
Yeah, when Mary Lee was kind of posing the question, I was thinking about an experience that I recently had and am having with my sister-in-law, who was married to my brother, who has her first son is with my brother, and then her second son is with her new husband, who has been diagnosed, he's 6 years old, with childhood diabetes. And initially she had, I was hearing it through through the older brother, through my nephew, what his mom was going through. And I was sending like positive things and whatnot. And Whitney was not having it. She was just really pissed off because she was scared to death of her little child's sugar going so high, so low, and not knowing what to do. She wasn't getting help from doctors and whatnot. So one night, she was so anxious. She had asked my mom to show up, and she had showed up just to be there, just a body there, because she wouldn't be alone. And my mom came back and said, "Oh my God, Whitney is just in a real bad state and whatnot." And I said, "You know what? Let's go there next Friday too. I'll come." And so I went, just spirit guided me to go. And when I was there, she was very anxious. So she was saying everything that, you shouldn't say necessarily in front of the 6-year-old boy who's taking all this in. But she was like, and then she was beating herself up for it. She was saying, "I'm such a bad mom. I shouldn't be." So there was a picture of her when she was a little girl. And I just looked at, and I said, because she looked like my nephew, I said, "Who's that?" She said, "That's me." I said, "You need to be more gentle and kind with her. You're doing the best that you can." And then I just started just being there and just being, literally spirit was guiding me to just be this loving presence. So I just kept showing up every Friday. That's my only day that I can kind of play with. And I would show up. And she sent me the most loving, this has like been going on for 2 months now. And her attitude and her behavior started changing around this child and herself. And she's still having those highs and lows with the sugar sometimes, but she started behaving and feeling more at peace. So she sent me the most beautiful text and saying, I'm in so much, and by the way, like she's not into prayer and meditation. She's talking about prayer and meditation and all of that all of a sudden. And it's not like I was pushing it on her. I was just being a loving presence. And then she wrote me a text saying, I just want to tell you, I'm in so much gratitude ever since you came into my life. There has been so much more peace even in the days there's been so much unpeace. You've brought so much peace. And that was totally spirit guided because one, I work 2 jobs. I don't really have time. I would have thought of doing something like that because I thought she wasn't open to anybody because I thought she's so like one. Yeah. But I just showed up and then spirit guided, and I wish I would listen to spirit more or spirit would talk to me more often, but that's a specific situation that I can say for sure that God was doing the work through me. And I wasn't that I had an agenda to do this or do that. So I think just showing up, validate, and I validated her a lot. Just like, yeah, this is hard. What you're going through is, and so she felt seen and she felt heard. And I rolled with her resistance when she wasn't wanting to hear anything spiritual. I didn't shove it down her throat. I just was present. And now she's talking about prayer and meditation. And that didn't come from me. That came totally through spirit. So I just wanted to share that.
You are the Christ. You are amazing.
As are you, Grace, and everyone here. I love you guys. Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you for that. So beautiful. Just reminded me of what Christy posted in our ministry share about her daughter Anna and how she like lit up when she asked her if we could pray for her. I mean, it just opens our hearts when we're willing to receive it. So thank you for that. And thank you, Anna. Ted, bring us home.
We've talked a lot about, what are the things that we can say, when people go through losses, they're emotionally in a different place. I had, from my experience, a part of a 4-year bereavement training. And when I lost my wife in 95, I mean, some of the things, the shallowest things is, well, she's in a better place, and, oh, she's not going to suffer anymore now. And, and people don't know just how empty those words ring. And so in part of that training, we had worked on development of, what do you say, and what are you trying to impress, or express, not impress, express to someone that's grieving, because you don't know exactly what they're feeling. And this is what we had come up with, and it is, I am so sorry. May you know that you are in my thoughts, in my prayers, and may that bring you some comfort. I'm so sorry. I mean, even though you would not think that saying you're sorry reaches, the level of pain someone might be experiencing. But when it's taken in after they've heard, oh, she's in a better place now, it really does have a response. And I've, I just want to share that, because saying I'm sorry may not seem like the right thing, but it is, in offering some measure of comfort. However you put it, I'm praying for you. May that bring you some measure of comfort, some measure to let them know that something is coming their way. They're not just dealing with the numbness and you know, the emptiness. So I just want to share that.
Thank you so much, Ted. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I love each and every one of you so much. I so look forward to our weekly meetings. So next week we are starting in chapter 25, which is the justice of God. And what we're reading, I believe, is the introduction, and then section 1, the link to truth. I'll double check that and then post that in our groups to make sure, but it's the justice of God, chapter 25, and the link to truth. And I'm going to close this out with my Pathways of Light insights for lesson 222, which is one of my favorite angel numbers. God is with me. I live and move in him. If I live in God, I must be perfectly safe. God is love and nothing else. There can be no harm in him. I live in love and harmlessness. To experience this, I must forgive God for not meeting my demand that he give me the specialness that he could not give. And I must forgive myself for rejecting God because he could not meet my demand. The ego made the body in order to make it appear that specialness is possible. But it is an illusion and could never be real. If I am offended in any way, it is because I believe it is possible I could be hurt. I could only believe this.
Thanks for remembering the cookie.
Hold on one sec. There we go. I could only believe this. Here we are. If I believe I am the image the ego has made. But I live and move in God. The self that lives in God could never be an image, for what is one could never contain distinct and different images. What is one must be all the same by definition. If I live and move in God, I must be an extension of God. All God's attributes are mine. All his gifts are mine. Because it is God's will that I am one with him. It is impossible that I could never be harmed. Each time I perceive a threat of any kind and take it to the Holy Spirit for him to shine his healing light upon it, I come closer to full remembrance of the life I live in God. I come closer to the experience of his peace. I remember that what I thought my brother did to me never occurred. Forgiveness is the means by which I awaken to my home in God. I am grateful I have the means through which I can remember God is with me. There is only one real life, and that is the life I live in God. There is only one love, and that is the love of God. God's love is changeless and eternal. This means my life is changeless and eternal. The only usefulness the body has is its use as an instrument of the Holy Spirit for awakening from the dream of separation. Beyond every form is love. If I look for love, I will find love. I give thanks that this is true. And so it is. Thank you, everybody. See y'all next week. Have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you, everyone.
See you next week.
Love
Bye
you
for
all.
Linda, what did you just read from?
It's the Pathways of Light insights for the lessons.
Okay, yeah.
You can find it online.
Oh, okay. Linda, I'm going to be traveling the next few weeks. Do you need me? Would you like me to check in each week as to whether I'm attending or not?
Nope. If I know that you will likely not be here, that's fine.
I'm going to try.
Okay.
I don't want to miss it.
Well, we would love to have you here, but
Thank
we
you.
know it's for
Thank
good
you,
reason. that you
everybody.
don't. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Much
Thank
love.
you.